this week's episode of String Squad. So I'm Angela. I'm joined with Whitney and Nick. And of course we have Dan behind the camera
I am
today.
once again behind the camera. Still here,
If
promise.
you're not watching live, thanks for checking out the replay. Be sure to like and share this video. Sharing helps.
Yep.
Sharing,
is caring.
So what do we got in store today?
Yeah.
Lots of good stuff. I know we did our weekly meeting to talk about what we're going to talk about on the show, and in the time it took to do that, some other stuff came up. So a lot of cool stuff, right?
Yeah, we normally hit on some industry news, talk a little bit about strategies, some things that we've seen in the Switcher Studio Enthusiast group. Industry news, you all want to kick things off?
Yeah, so first thing I wanted to share with you guys is that Anker, the brand of the batteries and stuff that we use for our broadcast, is having a sale on Amazon. So I shot the link over to Dan. He's going to put that in the comments, or I will put that
Also,
in the
we've had an
comments.
ongoing debate on how to pronounce this because it's Anker. It's not spelled like.
It's not spelled like the
fishing
anchor.
Yeah.
So this is what the internet has to say.
Oh, goodness.
Maybe.
Nope, it's not going to work.
Anchor.
Okay, apparently it's Anker. Anyway, they're having a sale. There are some items up to 65% off, which is great. And we thought we would let you guys know because, mobile solutions need mobile battery life. So check those out. I'll put a link down there. When
Yeah, I was gonna do it. I didn't see it though. Where'd you send that?
It's in the Trello board.
Okay.
We
See
use
that.
Trello for project management too. Want to check that out, but yeah. So good sale. They've got,
Deals.
like really long lightning cables and stuff too. So got a lot of
good stuff.
a lot of good stuff. I'm gonna order some things myself.
One of the other topics we had for industry news, there was a big boxing event on pay-per-view.
You may have heard about it.
Mayweather McGregor. I don't know.
Saturday.
Yeah.
And it's a pay-per-view event. It's normally $100 to watch this broadcast. I think, is it Showtime? Help me out here, guys.
Yeah, it was
We'll
on
bring it up.
Showtime.
Yeah.
And
I'm not a boxing person.
now that there are a lot of free platforms like Periscope and Facebook Live, and more and more people know about YouTube Live, which has been around for a while, there were a lot of people that were taking their phones, pointing it at the screen, and sharing it for other people to watch.
Yeah.
And looks like Showtime took a little bit of a hit on what they're used to seeing from these pay-per-view events. So we are in a very new world with ease of access for information, and I don't know what that's going to do for events. The licensing deals, the contracts. A lot of these type of pay-per-view events are driven by viewerships and historical numbers on what happens with these type of events, and we're starting to see a shift in the way that consumers access this information. It's happening with things like Game of Thrones and HBO shows. Also, it's easy to take your phone and point it at a screen and let other people watch something that you would otherwise have to pay for. Even at athletic events and stadiums, there's people that can pull out their phone and do video of the game in a way that can compete in some ways with access to that information. Granted, ESPN's doing a big production with a lot of people play-by-play. Like, there's a lot of extra value there with what they bring to the table. But it just takes one person to point their phone at a screen with that existing produced content and share it out there for everyone else to watch. And what was really interesting about this boxing event in particular, as videos are going up on YouTube and Facebook and Periscope, these platforms are monitoring it and trying to take it down, but they can't keep up because it's happening so fast. I think Periscope even blocked some of the hashtags related to the Mayweather-McGregor fight, just to make it easy. They're a little bit harder to get to those.
To find those broadcasts
content.
for other people while they try to take them down. So it's really interesting. It's funny to look at the evolution of how people pirate things. It used to be that you would wait until something aired and then someone would inevitably have a torrent up of it, within minutes of the end of the broadcast. So it's interesting now to see that we can't even wait that long, and people are doing it live
Happening
using
in
the
real
tools
time.
that they have in their pockets. So it's really weird.
I'm
change stuff. You guys keep talking.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
I know one thing I saw with it was, now Showtime's really nervous on, what do we do for the next big event for pay-per-view. And one thing that apparently led to a lot more of the piracy, Showtime saying it wasn't them, UFC saying it wasn't them, so it's somewhere in the middle. But the UFC app started having outages in different areas. So a lot of people who had actually purchased the fight, had thrown a big party, all of a sudden it's not working. Then they switched over to Periscope or Facebook or something. So
To find a
they're
working
trying to find
broadcast.
a way to make sure it doesn't happen again, but also to make sure that the people who did pay initially don't think, oh, this is what I'm going to do from now on, and that they do go back and still
I think
buy
that's a
the
really
actual
important
pay-per-view.
point, because if you look at traditional broadcast systems like television and cable, the infrastructure is there in a way that's very scalable, and it doesn't matter how many people are watching, you're going to get the content. But when it comes to online video, there's servers behind the scenes that are making all of this work. And every time they hit a ceiling for capacity, they have to spin up more servers. And if that infrastructure is not in place, or you underestimate the viewership for an event, you can hit that wall, and it can cause problems
Yeah.
and have severe outages.
On a related note, so the Game of Thrones finale was Sunday night. I am personally a huge fan of Game of Thrones, and I know, it's a huge event. People, are going to watch the finale in mass. And I saw on Twitter a lot of people who were using the different HBO apps to watch
Okay.
live had trouble about, 20 minutes into the video of, like, having the stream totally drop, and then when they bring it back, they had to start from the beginning and couldn't scrub through. I didn't have that problem. I was using Amazon Prime with the HBO channel, so I didn't have that problem, but I wonder how brands are going to start trying to figure out how to scale for those big events, because clearly the HBO finale for Game of Thrones brought in, God, how many? 12 million views?
You're making up numbers,
I'm
I don't
making
know.
up numbers, I don't know. But, if you look at historical data, like you're talking about, and you try to predict the viewership, and then you have to scale your infrastructure to match that. And I don't think that, thus far, I don't think I've seen a brand who's done that really well yet. And I think people live streaming these things is a way to cope with the lack of infrastructure on the brand side.
Well,
So-
and if you look at the streaming services, most of us use today, like Hulu or Netflix or Amazon, the on-demand viewing experience is much more distributed, and you can binge watch a program and you can watch it on your own time, but live is in the moment at this one particular time, and so the volume of people trying to watch the same thing all at once, the dynamics are a lot different, and so it's just a really interesting topic. I think we're going to see shifts in the way that events are offered and how they're distributed, and
It's just crazy how some of that stuff goes.
it's a brave new world. So Dan's
Yeah.
back here talking.
I'm back. Just had to readjust one of the cameras that we had there.
So would
Um,
love to hear your comments.
Yeah,
the
let us
comments.
know. What I can say is kind of funny. I had a friend, I don't know how you block this, but one of my friends got a text from his dad saying, hey, I bought the fight if you want to watch it. His dad lives in California, and he lives here in Louisville. So what do? They FaceTimed each other, and he just held the camera, or held the phone up. So, yeah, I guess people do whatever they can to watch this stuff.
Yeah.
That's funny. So we'll move on to the next one, but keep the conversation going and let us know your thoughts on what's happening with events and live video, especially when it comes to pay-per-view and events like the Mayweather and McGregor fight. Couple other things that came in that weren't on our agenda when we were planning on Monday. VidCon, the big industry conference around live video that we recently attended this summer.
Around online video. not
Around
live.
online video. Yeah, live is kind of the new piece there.
Yeah.
It's in a roundabout way the official YouTube conference, but they also embrace a lot of other platforms. LiveMe had a big presence.
Facebook announced a lot
Facebook.
of live video features while they were there
Yeah,
as well.
so really cool event, really big production. A lot of people involved behind the scenes making that happen. John and Hank Green were the originators for kind of getting this thing started, and they recently announced a new CEO. So Jim Louderback, who has organized the industry track for the past few years, also helped start Revision 3 and was involved with PC Magazine, is going to be taking the lead at VidCon, and really, really exciting, super great guy. I've had an opportunity to meet with him and talk before. Really smart and has done a lot in the video space to help make some big things happen. I was
He's
also
been there from the beginning, really,
Yeah.
too. He's been to every VidCon, and that's saying something because it used to be a pretty. The first VidCon was relatively small production, but he's felt strongly about VidCon, and so it's exciting to see someone who is on the same wavelength as Hank has been to take the reins as CEO. So that'll be really exciting to see.
Yeah, and especially we talk about this one event being such a big event. This year I think they had a European version, and there's a VidCon Australia coming up. I know Daniel Johnson messaged us about maybe checking that one out. So it's getting bigger and bigger, and it's not just here in the States. It's they're building a global footprint, and if they can replicate what they've been able to do for the one that they offer here in LA, it's a big operation that's only getting bigger, and it provides such a tremendous value to creators and fans, and bringing the industry together for people who are doing online videos. So really happy for Jim Louderback and VidCon, and just wanted to give some recognition there for what they've done in the past, and say congratulations. So keep doing what you're doing. Other news, YouTube has done a rebrand for the
changes.
first time ever,
Yeah,
maybe?
their website's gone through a lot of changes over the years, but this is the first time they've done a logo change.
Was this like talked about? Like,
This was-
did we know this was happening? Because
This
I
was
just kinda showed
yesterday.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yesterday it went from the tube in YouTube being in the red block to the red block being the play button next to YouTube. So I've seen it's rolling out slowly, I think. I saw the new logo on my dashboard in YouTube yesterday, but it wasn't until today that I got the full new YouTube experience
Here
with the
is-
whole redesign. So
Yeah,
think that's the new one.
I sent Dan a couple of photos he might be pulling up now.
Yeah.
I actually had a YouTube tab open from around noon yesterday, and so I left that opened up a new one, and it had changed. It's very bright now. The other thing I noticed is how previously, when you went to the YouTube homepage, it just had, an ad, and then it immediately showed your subscriptions, your recommended videos. Now they're very heavily advertising YouTube shows that they're doing for YouTube Red and YouTube subscriptions. So now when you go on, it's a big advertisement to check out their new shows, even some live shows, and then you scroll down and you get to your subscription. So
yeah,
they're really making that push.
They're heavily pushing their YouTube TV thing too, where you
Yeah.
can watch local TV stations and stuff there
And
too.
live
And
television.
watching live television on YouTube. It just rolled out here in Louisville like a week or two ago.
That's so cool.
So that's really interesting to see too. They
my-
also have in the new YouTube dashboard where you can watch in dark mode. So instead of having the bright white background,
I saw that.
You can
I haven't
watch
done
it in
anything
dark
with it, but it looked cool.
I really like it personally, but
I see my GPS do it. It's like I'll be driving, and then
It just
the sun goes
switches.
down, and it just goes from white to the black interface. And
Yeah.
That's a very Google thing to do.
yeah,
but
it's a user experience piece. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
So that was a really interesting thing.
YouTube might be getting more of my money, so
Yeah.
we
they're
already
doing a good
use
job
YouTube
selling.
Red, which is pretty cool. It's YouTube without commercials and includes Google Play, which is kind of a Spotify equivalent. So
Yes.
they've been around for a while. It's going to be hard to shake those guys down. Facebook is definitely giving them a run for their money and putting video front and center. And what Periscope's been able to do, and Twitter doing more with video. LinkedIn's doing video now. Reddit's doing video.
Well, I think Facebook especially is going after the YouTube crowd because they've introduced the Facebook Watch
Yeah,
thing. Have you seen that in your dashboard yet?
it's not on mine yet.
It's not?
I,
Okay.
I normally get
It's
these
It's
early.
online now.
Ah,
So I clicked on it, and you can see the different TV show style series
Okay.
that people are creating for Facebook.
do we
now.
have a switcher channel, or is it like super selective?
No, they've selected certain
Okay.
production groups to do those right now.
Yeah.
And some YouTubers, which I thought was interesting. There were
Wow.
a couple YouTubers that I saw that now have series
Okay.
on the Facebook Watch page, so that is really interesting.
It's interesting to see like where everything's going with having, you know, so many options for TV. I remember, you know, just when I was growing up, it was rare to find someone who didn't have cable. Like you had to have cable. And I was just like looking through stuff for budgeting the other day, and it kind of dawned on me, I don't really know anyone with cable, but I know a ton of people like me who have Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime and all of these other things. So it's this really strange like shift that's happened just to be more on demand in like the past 10 years.
Yep.
Yeah, we do a lot of that. We've got Prime and Netflix, and we had Hulu and just got rid of it, I think. But yeah, there's so many options for the cord cutting crowd. You know, we've got. I haven't had a cable subscription in 10 years.
I think USA Today did a really good article talking about cord cutting and some of the different options, and that was actually tied to YouTube's announcement of live TV. So if you want to see what some of the options are out there, USA Today has a really good piece on that. So I think if you're all good, we can move on to the strategy piece.
Yep.
A lot of really interesting things happening in the industry, and it happens so fast. So we get together on Monday and plan for our broadcast, and we had 2 new pieces of information that we actually incorporated in today's show just because they're timely. So always keep your ear to the ground and pay attention.
Yep.
For strategy, this kind of ties into some of our topics earlier, but we wanted to talk about using pre-recorded video on your live streams. And I think there's a lot of ways to do that are beneficial and move the story forward, from intros for your show to pre-recorded interviews that you can intersperse during a program.
Or how we feature a user's video. We insert video to show you what people have done with Switcher lately.
Yeah.
So there are really great ways to, provide value by inserting video, pre-recorded video into your live video. But something that we have started seeing is people posting live video that is all pre-recorded. So they'll go live, but no part of the production is actually live. They're just replaying a pre-recorded video for a duration of time.
I've even seen bigger brands do this, and I'm
Yeah,
not going
I
to use any
have
names,
too.
but it's content that was produced that's played back as though it was live. And if you're using free platforms like Facebook or YouTube, I know the terms of use are really big and no one actually reads them, but
Part of the terms of use.
part of the terms of
Yes,
use
it's
is that
live.
live should be live, and that's where the value is in having that interactivity and being able to have a conversation with viewers. And we're going to jump in the comments here in a little bit, and you lose that when it's something that's pre-produced and put out there. And there's also certain mechanisms in these platforms for notifications to help people know when you're sharing information. And
They're essentially gaming the system. They're using
Yeah.
there's data out there that indicates that live video gets more views, and so they're using that information as a means to get more viewers on content that they would normally just upload instead of.
so I'm not gonna knock it at, like, it's smart. It's really smart to use that within the framework that's out there, but it's also against the rules. And so that's kind
And I
of,
think it devalues it eventually.
Yeah.
Is that people will stop tuning in to live videos that aren't actually live. Part of the point is that you want to watch something while it's happening so that you can have the engagement and the interactivity and talking back and forth to your audience. But when you pose something as live, when it's not actually live, you lose that entirely. And eventually, people are going to catch on.
yeah.
And it's going to devalue the whole point of live video in that instance.
So this is this week's ethics episode.
Yeah,
I feel like we've had a few of those lately.
But as a user, as someone who watches live video on Facebook and on YouTube, I watch it because I want to interact with the person I'm following. I want that piece where I'm talking to them and they're talking back. And without that, the value of live is gone. It's not like if I wanted to just hear someone talk to me, I would watch their pre-recorded video.
Well, and I think there's different versions of it, and not that one's better or more okay or legal than the other, but recording or pre-producing something that is your own, that is your content, is also very different than playing back a 1940s Western film on Facebook Live. Which we've seen. We've seen some of those. There's been some cool like Japanese films and like they're just movies that are being streamed live on channels. And so with anything that you're creating, make sure you have the rights to that. If you're using other content, if it's a reaction video or a customer video, we're going to show an example here. You want to give attribution for that, to give credit, to show where that comes from. That was something we missed in our industry piece, the H3H3 case. Do you all want to reel it back a little bit? A lot of overlap
in the same vein there. So we talk about using pre-recorded video in your live streams so that you can, react to things, you can show video and react and all of that. And that's a whole, segment of YouTube videos are the reaction videos. So someone will film themselves watching a thing and then they'll intersperse their reaction with the actual video.
Or even, we'll come back to what you just said, but like a cooking shows that are inspired by a TV show, they might show a 15-second snippet of the program and then go into their own thing.
Right. So it's a question of fair use. Is the content I'm showing during my reaction video or during the original creative work that I've made, is that considered fair use? And so there's a big channel, H3H3 Productions, that there was a huge lawsuit. They were sued for copyright infringement and defamation or something like that. And it just came through earlier this week or late last week that they won. They won the lawsuit. So the judge ruled that it was considered fair use in their case. They had done essentially a reaction video. And it seems weird to me because living in the YouTube world, like I watch so much content on YouTube that a reaction video like that would just not controversial. That video, I kind of expected it to be a more controversial video than it was.
I watched it too. He praised the guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, love him or hate him, you gotta appreciate his effort, and he's really putting thought process. So yeah, it seemed
it was,
a little bizarre,
yeah,
but it is a big win.
Dan, can you do a quick Google search just for TechCrunch H3H3? Like there's a story that they posted about this. We can.
You
just
mean
do a
the
quick
one that
screen
we
share.
put
Oh, you have it?
on
Yeah.
Trello, and I have it
That's
right
what he's
here.
doing. It's like he's done this before.
Right. Preparing for
You
live
mean
stream.
this one right here?
Yeah, but it's just really interesting to me that particular video would have been the one that launched this whole lawsuit because it was such a tame video, but the person who created the original content that was referenced in the reaction video,
They're a heavy hitter. They have a big following, and this is a really important case. If this had swung the other way, it could have affected the type of content that we see on YouTube and Facebook now. Like, it could be an immediate change or shift in what's acceptable and what is allowed. Philip DeFranco is a really early online video creator. I think he's involved with the team at BuzzFeed now.
Is he?
Maybe. Okay, don't quote me on that.
I don't know that.
I didn't hear about that.
No, I don't think that's right. He used to be with SourceFed.
Okay.
And then SourceFed is gone now.
Anyway, Philip DeFranco, a really interesting guy, really involved in some of the big successes early on with live video, saw this case and took note and started an online fundraising campaign to get other people to help support this, because it was going to be a big case and there are going to be a lot of expenses involved in actually getting this to the finish line. And so it was really interesting to see the community come around this topic as well. And we're happy with the outcome.
I'm sure the other person
I'm sure
is not. But I think for most creators, see the verdict as being a win for content creators.
Well, it's a win for fair use.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when, because I think he made it for like $150,000. Philip DeFranco made the GoFundMe page for H3H3, and I remember in less than 24 hours they'd already gotten like $100,000 just from not only big name content creators, but just so many users donating $5, $10, $15 to say, you know, we think this is fair use. Let's donate to the case. So it was really amazing too to see how quickly people reached out to help and, you know, help them win this case.
And I think the other thing that's interesting here is you look at people that are successful on YouTube, or what we consider a YouTube celebrity, and we see people on Facebook, even Switcher customers that are doing content regularly and building audiences, and they're people. They're people. They have lives, and they don't have law degrees. And when this stuff comes at you, you're really it's hard to know how to react and to be prepared. So to see the community come around that, I think, was a really important piece. When we talked about VidCon earlier, John and Hank Green, I think, at some point have helped put together a foundation for providing legal services for creators.
It's not necessarily for legal service. It's the Internet Creators Guild.
Yeah.
And so it's a place where people can go who are content creators and get advice and information on what their rights are and best practices for content creation and that kind of stuff. So if you're a content creator and you're interested in that, you should definitely check it out. They have so many great resources, and they bring in really great talent to put together information for the creators that are part of the Internet Creators Guild. So I would definitely recommend that.
What's it called one more time?
Internet Creators Guild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
But it's really cool. It's for creators of all types, but especially video.
I'm glad you took that lob, because I didn't know the answer. I know you know.
You know I know. It's a thing.
So I think we can wrap that one.
Yeah.
But
let's see. Do you want to let's do some shout outs. Let's see who we got in the comments here.
Yeah.
So
And a quick note on that, just that theme, that topic, the idea of using pre-recorded content in your live video. It's absolutely okay, especially if you're using it to move the story forward, to introduce your show, to showcase a customer, user,
and if you have attribution,
and to give credit.
Give credit to people and make sure you have permission and all of that. For live especially, I think. So.
Yeah, but I would probably avoid going out and recording a 3-hour-long event and playing it back
As if it were live.
As if it were live.
Don't do that.
You'll get in trouble, and you might get your Facebook or YouTube account turned off.
Yeah.
So
Earlier, I was like, I don't really know what we're going to talk about this. I'm just going to say, don't do that. That's bad. But we managed to talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah, one thing I've been seeing more and more lately is, you know, people are realizing that live videos prioritize is they're taking, you know, just something as simple as like a photograph or a meme, and they're making, you know, they're stretching it out to 10, 15 minutes, throwing it up live, putting it on a loop. And so now they're gaming it and just putting, you know, a photo up to get more views. So
yeah, and that's one Facebook's tracking down
yeah,
too.
that's an easy way to get flagged. Please do not do that.
Yeah.
Also, we are not lawyers. We cannot officially give legal advice, but
we can say don't do that. We don't recommend it, and you might get in trouble. That's as much as we can say. But all right, shout outs. Tim Flanagan, what's up?
Hey, Tim.
Mark Gawith, gotcha. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, definitely get in on that anchor sale. That's great.
Yeah, I pinned that comment there, so I did find that.
You pinned
so.
it. That's what.
Yeah. Pin
No,
Writing a
save it,
post of
save it.
some Things. You know what? We'll save that one.
Yeah.
Can you screenshot that?
Yeah,
Let's see.
I got you.
Do we still have the mic audio rattling?
Oh
thing?
yeah, so I can talk to that. I know
Okay,
I know what they're talking about there. So I've got, I don't know if we can see it here. I'll try and put it up there. I've got a little lav here, and yeah, I got up to adjust the cameras and the mics a little bit and dropped it.
Oh,
So
okay. Someone
that's
tried
what
to-
everybody probably heard there.
Let's see. We got Karen and Shelly. Hello.
They're asking about the mics on there. Those are just 2 shotgun mics that we have on table tripods to
Yeah.
kind of
they're
explain
asking
what's
about
going on there.
Yeah, so we've got 2 mics here. One mainly for Nick, and then one for the 2 of us. And then Dan's got the lav on
Yeah.
his shirt, and then they run into a mixer, and he's got the mixer running into the main
And if
mixing
anyone was
iPad.
wondering why the audio was just barely off between everyone, and it sounded like Whitney and Angela were talking in a really open room or something, that is because I had my channels backwards on my mixer, and I'm trying to bump them, and I'm turning them down. So I think it
That's
sounds
great.
really good now, though. It was a rough start for me.
We'll have to annotate this video.
Yeah. But I think we've got a video on how to use a mixer with Switcher Studio, I think, on our YouTube channel. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
So we can post a link in there so they can see.
Pretty
more
much
detailed setup.
the 30-second version is XLR outputs from mics or whatever you have into the mixer, and then I have a line out of the mixer into, I'll hold this up, into an iRig that's converting an XLR from the board to TRRS. So that's the quick down and dirty. We have a lot of other stuff online about it, but yeah.
So many words.
Yeah.
It's really not that bad.
It's really not that bad, I promise.
It's super simple. Like if I can do it, anybody can do it. I am not. I'm not an advanced audio person, and I know enough.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, all that information is online.
yeah, we'll throw some.
I'll try and find that once you guys go to the next topic and try and put that in there.
Yeah.
for
So
people.
what is the next thing? Oh, we were going to talk about.
Last person really quick,
Oh, yeah.
sneak in Eric
Oh.
says hey. Stream
Hey,
Squad,
my comments
so-
are delayed. I see.
Yeah.
I'm paying attention. I'm taking some screenshots for an article. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job. So we had a few things in the user group we wanted to talk about. What was that? The broadcast error.
Yeah, broadcast error.
Yeah.
Do you have
I
a
love
picture
this.
for
I love this picture.
So, gosh, where do we start? Spiders are bad, and they might make your internet not work.
And there's the picture.
Think that was
No,
backwards, but-
someone had posted an image in the user group. They were doing a broadcast. They got an error message during their stream that they had not seen before, and for live video, making sure you have a strong outgoing connection, upload speed to be able to do a full quality video is really important. But that's not the only factor to take into consideration with networking. If you're using Switcher, an iPhone, or an iPad, and you're relying on a wireless router, you want to make sure that you have a strong signal between your iPhone or iPad and that router. And a lot of times that can come down to proximity. And you'll hear us use the word proximity a lot when it comes to camera quality and lighting and networking. And a lot of different things within video, but keeping your iPhone or iPad close to your router or your network will ensure that you have a strong connection. And if you get a little bit too far away, you're going to see those bars drop, and you're not going to have the same throughput that you would typically. So an error message like this is most commonly attributed to a poor connection over the local network between your device and the source. So that's a long way of saying that. Also, it could be the spider, but yeah, just something to keep in mind as you're doing video, or even at home, just watching a YouTube video on your computer. If you're in the same room as your router, it's going to be better than if you're a few rooms over.
Yeah. We have a pretty tiny house, and it's like I live in an 800 square foot house, and our router can't ever be that far away from where I am. But turns
You go through a
out,
few walls.
if you're in my bedroom and you try to watch anything on YouTube, there's just don't even bother. It's not going to work.
So anything else we need to add there, Dan? Or I think we hit that one.
Yeah, that's
Pretty
the
Cool.
that's it.
Awesome.
Have good internet.
Yeah.
And just again, I like repeating myself, and this is another good tactic for live video. You can't always assume that everyone's going to watch from the very beginning to the very end. They might be coming in at different points. So each show, we do a quick intro. We talk about industry news, strategy, things that we see in the user group. And the user group piece we just talked about is making sure you have a strong connection between your iPhone or iPad and your network or your router. And in a lot of times that means get closer. So there's the too long didn't read.
Yep.
Ready to move on to the next
Yeah.
segment?
Yeah,
So
let's
we've
do
got
it.
a user video coming up. Who wants to take that?
Angela?
Sure.
Go
so
for it.
we have this is Phil's video that we've got for this week. He's going over just a little bit of his setup. I think Dan.
Yep, I'm gonna
has-
go ahead and start this video.
So Phil is with his
This is-
visual
yeah.
arts.
Visio Art Studio, I think.
Oh man, we should have wrote this down.
Yeah.
Help us out,
Sorry,
Dan.
Phil. I can.
He does really great work. They do in studio performances. They have an incredible audio setup, and they're doing multiple cameras and using the Galileos, which we were really fond of a few years ago. And, so they do great productions, and they're doing them really consistently and really often. They have a volunteer program. There's other people in their community that help with these productions, and really happy to see this video that Phil put out that did a little behind the scenes on their setup and their program and what they're all about.
Yeah.
So good work, Phil.
And these are the kinds of things that you can look forward to seeing if you join the user group. So we have.
Yeah, I know
people-
Phil talks quite a bit in there, and we'll get in and help people out. I forget who it was, just another cool story from there. Somebody posted and said, like, shout out to, and there was a couple people he shouted out to in the user group who he was always asking questions, and they helped him, and he's like, with all their help, here's my first broadcast, and it was awesome. I'm like, oh my gosh, you did it. It was so good.
That's great.
Yeah, so it's really cool seeing people help each other out, and it makes our lives easier too, where if there's questions that other people know, they can help answer them if we're not available at that time. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
And it's a really great place for getting feedback on your broadcast too, because sometimes it's not just about the technical piece; it's about the actual content of the broadcast. And so we see people, posting their videos and asking, how can we make this better? And it's great. I love it. So yeah, definitely check out the user group. We're gonna have a little announcement in there today. And then we'll announce it to everyone else next week.
We're so bad at teasers.
Yeah, we like to try to tease information and stuff. We're really bad at it. We can't keep secrets, essentially, is what it is.
But if you want to hear the secrets, just go to the user group.
Yeah, the user group's where we post all of our secrets.
So
Yeah.
Switcher Studio Enthusiast, if you're watching for the first time or just now trying out Switcher, Switcher Studio Enthusiast, or check for the link on the Switcher Studio page, and you can get in on that.
Yep.
Should we take a few questions?
Yeah, let's see what we got.
Maximiliano, I hope I'm saying that right, and I apologize greatly if I don't. And this might be a good question for you, Whitney, I think. Asked, what are the most innovative live streamers for inspiration in business? Is there anyone who's doing live video really well that you know of? This might be something, again, just check out the user group and see some awesome examples there.
Well, and I think if you're talking about using live video, like if you are a business and you're using live video to promote what you do, Iographer Dave Basulto does live videos every week, and he does a really great job of sharing what he is selling through his website, but also giving advice and information. He does a really great job with it. Anybody else?
I think that's a great example because we like Dave, we like Iographer, we use their products, and there's a lot of crossover in using Switcher and something like what Iographer provides, but the way that he uses the technology and the platforms and the value that he brings to his customers by being open and being available and having great support he tests everything. I mean, they sell other products on their website like tripods and microphones and cables, and he'll try it and he doesn't sell it unless he likes it and it works.
Expectations, yeah.
And he does those unboxings and those tests live.
What I really
People to
like
watch.
is his stuff on Facebook and YouTube is very raw. Like, he just gets in, like, he's using it for the first time too. He doesn't do an unboxing where he's already kind of seen what it does and everything. He knows what it should do, and he goes in and he's like, all right, let's test out the stuff. And you really get to see if he's excited about something or his true thoughts about it. And I really like that.
Yeah. And another person I think comes to mind is Joel Comm. So his business is he is an expert in live video. And so his business is himself, really. He has books, and he does videos, and he speaks at conferences, and so that is his business. And he uses live video really, really well on Facebook to promote his expertise.
He brands himself and uses live video to do that.
Yeah. So I think those two are the ones that I would probably recommend the most.
And then, of course, like we said, just get into the user group because there's people posting stuff there all the time to give different ideas. I mean, our idea, our intro video came from Brittle Star. We saw his and we're like, oh, that's such a good idea. Because that's just one of those things you don't think about at first, where you hit record and broadcast and Switcher, and you start this, and people might not tune in immediately, or it might take a couple seconds. So having a 30-second countdown or something, so people know exactly when you're going to start, I think that's
Yeah.
one of those cool things, and it's neat how you can pick up those little tips and tricks from other people as well.
I think too, like, you don't necessarily, like, if you're looking for inspiration for people who are innovative in live video for business, you don't have to necessarily look at businesses. You can look at creative uses, like the Brittle Star example. Brittle Star is not a business; they're a creative use of live video, and
It's
we
a morning
pulled.
show.
And yeah, they have a morning show on Mondays and Fridays, and we pulled inspiration from that for our business-related live
Yeah.
video. So
They're pretty fun. I mean, they're
They're
not
great,
exactly
yeah.
a business, but they're someone just to check out, I'd say,
Yeah.
too.
There's,
So I think look for inspiration in places that you wouldn't necessarily think of for business. I think pulling ideas from other places makes live video fresh and interesting.
Yeah.
So.
There's one here in our community that recently started using Switcher and doing live videos. A company called Wicked Sheets. It's Ellie
Mhm.
Trutman, and they make sheets for your bed. They're out of it's a special material, and
Prevents night sweats.
Prevents
And
night
it wicks
sweats.
away. It doesn't prevent night sweats necessarily, but it wicks away the moisture so you aren't lying in your own filth.
They're not paying me
and
to say
sweat.
this. I have them on my bed, and they're amazing.
So most of their product is sold online through their website, and they do reviews, they do videos, they have YouTube content. But she's been able to use live video over just the past month to talk about how she started the company, things that they've learned and changed, their process and their workflow, getting feedback and testimonies from other people. I think they did a video last week with a doctor.
They had an actual, her last one was an actual doctor, and, how he mentioned Wicked Sheets don't take away night sweats, but it's how to deal with it. The doctor actually went over more of what causes night sweats, how you can reduce night sweats, so that way you have the starting piece now of, how you can help yourself out naturally, but then still for, the night sweats you do continue to have, you've got the Wicked Sheets to help. So she was able to bring that second piece as, kind of a preventative measure, and then follow it up with, but Wicked Sheets are still here.
And I think that's something that's applicable to any business is you are an expert in what you do, and you know your customers and you know your product, and just showing your expertise and tips and tricks or what happens behind the scenes, document. You don't have to
All
create
of those things make for
a new
interesting
show.
content.
There are things that you are already doing that are a part of your workflow or your business that people will find interest in if you're just willing to share and hit the button. And so that's one of the really cool things about video, especially live video, is it gives you that direct line of communication with your customers. You can talk about what you're doing. You can do an interview or a testimonial with an existing customer. If you have a new product or idea that you're trying, you can get real-time feedback on that before you spend months and tons of money on developing a new product. There's just a lot of benefits to trying it out, and I think we're still early, and we're still seeing new things and new ways to use it. But business and business marketing is one that's really interesting, and I think it just comes down to turning on the camera.
Yeah. Do we have any other?
Yeah, let
questions?
me just answer one more quickly. First, he came back. It's Max. That makes it way
Max.
easier for me. I like that.
Gotcha.
One more, but I think before we wrap that, I'll answer quick. Ezekiel asked, are you guys currently streaming in high or HD quality? And what that's referring to is when you create a Facebook Live stream in the app, you have the choice of low, medium, high, and HD. And we touched a lot on last week about how, if you're over a LTE connection or something, you're going to see lower quality streams and whatnot. But just to answer that quickly, I chose the high for this one. I don't know why I did high and not HD. I just kind of left it where it was. So I hope that helps answer that question.
And we're using director mode.
And we are using director mode. So even if this quality doesn't look as good here, we can always, not always can, but we will upload this on YouTube for people to watch afterwards.
Awesome.
So that's all. I think all we have.
Cool.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning in. We do this every Wednesday at 2 o'clock Eastern Time.
Think about it a little bit.
These are questions. We've been doing this a while, but it's a lot of fun. We started our broadcast on Fridays, and we moved them to midweek. And I think it's been a good shift. Would love to get your all's feedback on day and time and if this works for you all. Also, love just seeing what's happening in the world, especially around live video, seeing what you all are creating and what's happening in the user group. If you're using Switcher for the first time or you're just checking out this video and want to learn more, you can go to switcherstudio.com. Be sure to share this video, comment, all of those things help get more engagement, more views, and help us share what we're doing so we can help more people make better video. And be sure to check out the user group Switcher Studio Enthusiasts. So
We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
thanks.
See you
Take
guys.
care,
Take care.
everyone.
Bye.